There are critics of yours, Prime Minister, who will say, well, part of the reason that Israel is losing the propaganda war is when you have ministers like Smotrich making incendiary or inflammatory comments, and there doesn't seem to be any particular pushback from your government to this. They go, well, what does a Prime Minister really believe?
Well, what I believe I say. In a parliamentary system, people are free to say. Sometimes they say things they don't quite mean. It happens all the time. It happens in any parliamentary system, as you know, and it happens in Britain too. But I think that on the whole, the government is united. Most of the people are united, not all. You have a very active fringe.
Prime Minister, forgive me, but these aren't parliamentarians. These are people who are part of your government, and they remain part of your government after they say these things that to many people, even your friends, sound a little bit like ethnic cleansing is being discussed.
Well, we're not discussing ethnic cleansing, and to the extent that we have these conversations around the cabinet, the security cabinet, that is actually not being discussed by these people. But they have disagreements with me. That's part of a parliamentary coalition, and they can leave. And in fact, some of them have left the government in the course of this war. They came back because they disagreed with my decisions on hostage negotiations. They left, or they voted against, or they did both. And that's common. And to describe this as anything but unique, this is a democracy. I think there too, come on, understand, you know very well how that works in Britain and how it works elsewhere. I don't condone the idea of the ethnic cleansing. I don't seek to occupy Gaza and settle it. I think that our goal there is to make sure that we have a security belt, a security cordon, which will probably.
But Prime Minister, may I just interrupt? When you have your finance minister making a speech and talking about occupying Gaza, and there doesn't seem to be any pushback within the government, people quite rightly, in my opinion, would say, well, surely aren't you condoning that type of rhetoric?
No.
And it's exacerbating Israel's PR problem.
I disagree completely. When somebody says that, and I'm asked, is that your policy? And I said, no, it's not my policy. I don't intend to build settlements or communities in Gaza, and not Israeli ones. I want a non-Israeli civilian governance after that is committed to living in peace with us and doesn't condone terror, educate their children to terror, finance terror, or launch terror, which is what Hamas does, and frankly, what the Palestinian Authority would do too. So we're not going that route. But I don't want to build Israeli communities there, and I've said it openly. And they asked me, your Minister of Finance says this, and what do you say? Well, I say I disagree with him, and I say that he's entitled to say his things. That's not ethnic cleansing. It's a view. It's a legitimate view, which I happen to disagree with. But I can tell you that I think there too, the statements that nullify and challenge the various lies that are leveled at us, you just can't keep up with it. It's like a flood. I'm too busy winning the war, sometimes winning the actual war, to debunk every single lie that is put against us or against me. You're vilified. You're a war criminal. You're a demon. You're demonized all the time. And it just say noise. Put that aside. Win the war. Win it judiciously. Use just means, and have in a just war that you have to win if you're going to live and survive in this very brutal era. And let me tell you, we will win it. And I think we'll win the peace with it too. Because I think in our area, guess what? In your area too, people respect the strong. And the strong have to win. The strong can be evil or they can be good. But you cannot lose. If you lose, nobody will make alliances with you. Nobody will make peace with you. You make peace with the strong. You make alliances with the strong. The strong survive. But the strong survive not only through their guts, but also through their wits and through their commitment to their cause. And my cause is the survival of the one and only Jewish state, often against incredible vilification and lies. But that's the way this cookie crumbles, but the state of Israel will not.
Because what you're saying, and look, I have a sympathy with what you're saying, of course I do. But when you say that this is just noise, I would strongly push back against that, Prime Minister, because if you look at particularly Gen Z and the younger generation's opinions of view on Israel, they are, to put it mildly, Prime Minister, deeply unfavorable. And those kids now, they are going to be the next ones to go into politics. They're going to be the next decision makers. That must present you with a very real worry that Israel will not enjoy the same level of support, particularly from the US, that it has once done when those kids come to be the decision makers.
Well, ask them in Britain and ask them in the US what they think of Britain and the US. What do they think? And what are they saying? There's a big campaign, and it's organized and systemic and it's financed, to tear away traditional elements of support from Israel. It's not just happening by itself. A lot of it is organized. And if it's organized, you can counter it too at the appropriate time. You just have to concentrate your attention to it. And I agree with you that it's an important point. And I'll tell you what they're saying. They're saying, for example, those in America are saying, we're pro-American. You're pro-American? And you attack Israel that is fighting the people who try to assassinate President Trump twice, not once, who bombed American embassies, who murdered 241 American Marines in Beirut, who murdered and wounded thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan with Iranian IEDs, Iran that chants death to America, death to the traitors, to the heathen, and so on. This is the people you support, and in fact, that's where the support. Not only that, you heard some other outlandish things that they do. I mean, they're some of their most prominent spokesmen. They say, well, Netanyahu is trying to drag Trump into a war. Did you hear that? You hear that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, okay. And what do I want to do? Because I want ground troops, American ground troops, boots on the ground, to conquer Iran and bring about regime change and all that nonsense. And thank God President Trump has proven an exceptional friend of Israel, an exceptional leader. And he did exactly the right action, the precise action, using American power, and came in, I think, in a very forceful but judicious way. I think we've been very fortunate to have a leader in the United States who doesn't act like the European leaders, who doesn't succumb to this stuff. But if you're telling me that there's work to be done on Gen Z and across the West, yes. And by the way, it's not only our job. We are, as your colleague Douglas Murray has said, we're the litmus test for the survival of the West, because these people are against the West. They're not for the West. They're against the West. And there's the horseshoe effect of the woke left meeting the woke right and challenging the basic precepts of Western civilization. And I think that has to be challenged not merely by Israel or by me, but by you. And I know that you're doing it, and I want to commend you for doing it.
Well, we've certainly been challenging the woke right, and that's one of many critics, but we'll continue to do it. Prime Minister, I know you're limited on time. We'll just do a couple more questions.